Today we are meeting with Paul Hildyard of the Wild Bread Company for this episode of the Howick Highlight, where we interview people, businesses and organisations in and around Howick. Paul, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
You're well known for crafting the most beautiful and delicious sourdough bread. Tell us when and how this creative chapter of your journey began.
Sure. I think, like all journeys, has a really interesting beginning. Our friend Graham Tarty, who's a psychologist and was a psychologist, he wanted to change course, and after 30 years decided he wanted to go into the intrinsic value of what made real bread good. And he traveled to Poland in France. He did a lot of research, and being a doctor, incredibly academic, he devoured really intense notes and came up with Raymond Cavall's method, which is a sourdough method. And he basically put traditional sourdough, which was being lost in the French tradition, back. It was the Renaissance for sourdough bread, and that's pretty much where we started. And as a friend, he bolted us onto his journey some 15 years ago. And we tracked down a chap in Worcester called Trevor Daly, and we went down to visit him, and he does proper sourdough, again like us, in wood-fired ovens. And we took his methodology and we paired it with Raymond Cavall's method, and then Graham created ratios that would work pretty much for the Midlands. And he started his own mother or starter. And from there we just slowly journeyed and worked out. And with Graham, Glenn, my partner, and myself, we would test bread, cut bread, make bread. And then Graham basically lived on his sourdough bread and paid the rent, and that became his bread and butter. Yeah, his bread and butter.
That's amazing.
And about 3 years ago, he decided to pursue his music, and he's an author. He's busy writing a book. He wanted to move back down to Cape Town and commence studying. So he said he was going to be leaving the bread, and we offered to buy the business from him. And he was quite surprised, thinking he could sell his business. And we said, well, we've journeyed with you over 18 years and we've always done great food. And we sold the business. He sold it to us, and we have run with it ever since. So yeah, it's a little bit hectic, but the key thing is real food, real sourdough. It takes a 3-day ferment, but we can do up to 400 loaves a week, sometimes more, sometimes less.
Fabulous.
We have a huge repertoire. So.
And now creating a perfect and delicious loaf of sourdough bread. It's more than just baking. It's an art form and it's a science.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about the ingredients that you use.
Oh, that's probably the most important question. It's an alchemy. You know, it's our humans' original food. It's our key food for good nutrition, and we use only, almost exclusively, the flour from Champagne Valley. It's GMO free. They do best farming practice, which means there's no pesticides. They do no-till farming. They don't use fertilizers. So the product of the grain grown in the Champagne Valley is, I think, amongst the best in the country. So the flour is the beginning of good sourdough, and it takes 3 days. So we feed the mother, we grow it on. I do a levain, and then what Raymond Cavall does, which is very rare, we do an autolysis. So it's a twofold process. We have a fermentation bucket, and we have an autolysis. You bring the two together on the 3rd day. I do the final build, as Paul and I have done this morning. And then you build different ratios to create whether French country or a Farmton or paninis or rolls. I have quite a large repertoire. Carclew Farmers Market is a nice little market in the Midlands, just, well, you know it, just outside Howick.
Yes, that's where I discovered you.
Okay, in the Carclew. So we do many. Cheese and onion is very popular. I'm busy sprouting hemp seeds for this weekend. Ethiopian honey bread. We've got our own beehive, so we do honey from there. But it's intrinsic, and it's an alchemy, and every bake is critical because the weather dependent, temperature, humidity. So in doing it all by hand, I can feel when it's too dry, I can feel when it's too wet, and you can slightly adjust the dough process. So it's a dance.
I didn't realize that the environmental factors have such an impact on the sourdough.
Huge, yeah.
Tell us some more. What do you do? How do you adjust according to different temperatures and climates?
The best bakes are your cool bakes, which be winter and spring. Fortunately today, I've actually noted on my baking list, it's a spring day today because it's cool. We're sitting at an ambient about 20-21 degrees Celsius, which is absolutely perfect, which means the dough is going to rise slowly. There's no rush here. If you want good sourdough, you just want to add time, time, and time. So it's a slow rise. We woke at 5 o'clock this morning. I started my first build, do 3 stretches. In winter, it'll just take an extra 2 to 3 hours because we don't chase the dough. We let nature do the work. And I think the tragedy of most modern bread is that we proof it, we chase it, we overdo everything. The machines overwork the dough, over-oxidize. And as part of our history as humans, we've come out of industrialization where microwaves, pressure cookers, great machines, great technology, but it's the undoing of a lot of the key ingredients, which is just time.
Yes.
So nobody wants to make bread over 3 days, but if you do, the value will be low GI, the glutens will be reduced, the carbohydrates will be broken down by the enzymes that are naturally in the bread.
Yes.
We don't add anything to our flour, we don't add vitamin C to improve it, we let it be as it is. So whereas in the shop, your commercial flours will have up to 27 preservatives. So I think people are more allergic to the additives than poor old gluten that gets fingered for all sorts of.
Yes.
So I don't believe the world per se is gluten intolerant. I just think it's the chemicals and the fast processes that are actually the undoing of great bread.
Probably.
Yeah.
Where can one find your loaves?
Oh, fabulous. Every Saturday, 7-Eleven, Parkleaf Farmers Market. We have a small stall there. I have a wonderful Instagram group. I've got a wild bread group. They can join my broadcast group. I've got over 200 members. I send out 1 SMS a week. I post a few pictures. We also supply really beautiful restaurants, local and in the Midlands, thinking Dove House, I'm thinking Il Postino, I'm thinking the Barn Owl, groovy people, Station Stop, of course La Papote, Josephine's is opening in Garlington. And once they found my bread and the chefs tested and tasted and realized you've got a 5-day shelf life, and it actually gets better as it gets older because it's a fermentation. It doesn't go stale, it ripens. That they're kind of just transfixed by this amazing bread.
And it's so delicious.
Yeah, I know, we've had an amazing journey.
And if someone wants to contact you, how would they get hold of you?
Oh, the best would be either on WhatsApp, on my cell phone number, which will be posted probably online.
Yes, but give it to us anyway.
Oh, my cell phone number is 082 6654 369. Or they can find me on Facebook, or they can find Wild Bread Co. And that's where we'll be.
Fantastic. Paul, thank you so much. It's been fascinating chatting to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Howick Highlight. If you've enjoyed it, please share it so that others can also discover the Wild Bread Co.